Hi everyone. So I was asked a question by a subscriber, or maybe just someone that watches the videos. I assume it's a subscriber, maybe Ken Grew, who I think's commented a few times. Thank you, Ken. And he was asking me about looking after teeth and cavities, and I'm not doing the best job of looking after my teeth. As you can see, I've got some issues with my teeth. I've got a lot of cavities and a lot of issues, and um, so I can completely understand if you don't want to listen to my advice or learn from me or think I know nothing. I completely understand. But because I've had the damage that's happened and the issues that have happened with me, uh, and this for example, is something from a while ago. When you damage your teeth, one thing I want to say is there's not really a very good permanent fix. There's nothing that'll permanently work that will help. Maybe implants are the best thing, but they're very expensive. Maybe there's some things like that, but even then, I think issues can crop up with that. So you definitely want to take care of your teeth and do everything you can to take care of your teeth, and don't be flippant about it. Don't be cavalier about it. Don't think it's something that you can get away with just because you're eating a raw diet. And that was a mistake I made, and I was in denial about it for a number of years, the damage that was happening to my teeth. I was in denial about it, I didn't understand it, couldn't quite accept it, and ultimately that kind of mindset led to some problems. And I was trying to figure out the answer, and I was listening to advice from various people, and it seemed at first that the answer was about bacteria, and that is a big part of it. Well, that is the main cause. Um, and then a lot of people would say it's minerals. You're not getting enough minerals, and some people would say it's the acidic fruits and all this stuff. So I'd hear all these ideas, and I just thought none of it quite made any sense, because primates have been eating acidic fruits for millions of years, tens of millions of years. Why would we have evolved teeth that rot away when you eat acidic fruits? So it's not the acidic fruits. Minerals. I mean, people bring up minerals for everything. There's no sign of anyone having mineral deficiency. And if you did have mineral deficiencies, yeah, it might show up in your teeth, but it would show up in other things probably much more severely, maybe before. If you had if your teeth were not able to rebuild because you lacked minerals in your body, like calcium and phosphorus and stuff, don't you think that would be affecting your heart very quickly, your brain, your kidneys, your liver, like other parts of your body that need those crucial minerals? It's not nonsense. Like the idea that it's not enough minerals is nonsense. Most of the reason that people, and you know, there might be someone that's got a mineral deficiency in the world. There might be some people, but look at some of the common ones. Iron deficiency. It's not to do with not enough iron in your diet. Not to do with that generally. Um, so I threw aside mineral deficiency, which is not. I threw aside acidic fruits, which is not. We don't have a problem with acidic fruits. They may erode enamel, but that's okay. That's not what causes tooth decay. Tooth decay is not the erosion of enamel of a layer of enamel, because that can be remineralized. Tooth decay is when you have erosion right into your tooth. It rots the inside of your tooth. That's not the erosion of a layer of enamel on the outside of the tooth that can be rebuilt by saliva, by mineralization, remineralization. That's not what it is. Tooth decay is tooth decay. So, firstly, if we want to protect our teeth, we need to understand tooth decay. And we need to accept that tooth decay is the reason. That's the problem that most people have with their teeth. It's not a lack of minerals, not a lack of nutrients, it's not too much acidic fruits, it's not anything like that. It's a bacteria issue. It's tooth decay. Okay? So tooth decay requires a few things to happen. It requires the bacteria that create the acid that cause it. If you don't have that bacteria, nothing, it doesn't matter what you do, you won't get tooth decay. Or if you don't have enough of those bacteria. Are there some people that just don't have any of that bacteria or don't produce enough? There might be, but it's very uncommon, it seems. So it seems that the vast majority of people have this bacteria in their mouth, kind of a streptococcus bacteria. I think it's called streptococcus something. That produces acid. That bacteria digests, uh, basically eats the digestible carbohydrates that are in your mouth, that are on your teeth, that are on your gums and whatever. That's what they do. They eat the carbohydrates. So there needs to be digestible carbohydrates, but really that means sugar. So it's sugar that they digest, and probably complex carbohydrates turn into sugar in your mouth to some degree as well, or break down a little bit. But we're really talking about sugar. Those bacteria break down, consume the sugar. And of course, if there's more sugar, there's more bacteria because they can develop. Any animal, any species, if there's more of a food supply, there's more of them. It happens in the human race. When our food supply increased, we had more people. Whenever a country all of a sudden developed more food, like famous examples would be Ireland with potatoes and different countries like that, where they got a particular crop that they could grow more and more of, and they were able to support more and more people, and the population exploded. And that happened back in the day. Now we have unlimited food, but the population doesn't explode in Western countries, because people don't have as many children for a number of reasons. But people do have the potential to have more children if they want, you know. But back in the day, people used to have children. It was a weird concept, you know. People had children back then, so so there was a lot of children being born, and the more food, the more children were born. So the same with the bacteria in your mouth. The more sugar, the more bacteria. But that sugar is generally washed out of your mouth by the action of chewing and your saliva. So you eat food, like say an orange, acidic orange. You eat an orange, you eat a whole bunch of oranges. You eat all these oranges, you're chewing away there's maybe little bits of fiber stuck. I got some fiber from oranges I was eating, stuck in between your mouth, little bits of fiber. But generally, that orange has been swallowed for a start. There's maybe a little bit left in your mouth, but it's mostly watery, a little bit of fiber, and the action of your saliva is bringing about a state of neutral in your mouth. So when you're eating the orange, there's acid in your mouth. So in that state, your teeth are a little bit more vulnerable to damage, right? When it's acidic. But after you've eaten, the saliva that you produce is washing all of that away, off of your teeth, off of your gums, and all the rest of it. Just through chewing and eating and talking and you know, just the general movement of your tongue and your mouth and everything. You're cleaning it away, and you might have, as I say, a few bits of fiber you pick out and all the rest of it. So the bacteria has a limited chance to develop and grow and bloom. And but if there is any excess sugar, they will consume it. They will produce acid, and once again, your mouth will remineralize, will realkalinize with the production of your saliva. No problem. That's what meant to happen. And yeah, as there's that acidic environment, a thin layer of enamel apparently is being stripped from your teeth, but once again, it gets remineralized by your saliva. That's the way it's meant to happen. So what's the problem with tooth decay? Why is that happening? Well, what's happening there is that there's a layer of essentially plaque is covering your teeth and covering your mouth for longer than it really should, and your saliva is not able just on its own to realkalinize the state of your mouth or the state of your teeth. So this sticky plaque is forming, the bacteria is growing within that plaque, and it is a barrier really stopping the remineralization of the teeth properly and the mouth being alkalinized. But that process doesn't really happen in the presence of eating fresh fruit. Doesn't happen with oranges and pineapple and bananas and grapes and apples and all that. Because as I said, they're all very watery fruits. They've got sugar in them, but they've got a lot of water in them, a lot of fiber. And when you consume them, although sugar is sticky, because of all the water and everything, it's all rinsing out. If you think about it, taste your mouth after you've eaten, fruits and everything. It's not, you don't taste a lot of sugar in your mouth after you've eaten fruit, even directly after it, because it's all been washed away very quickly and swallowed away, right? Well, in what situation is that not able to happen? It's when we have really sticky food that sticks in our mouth, that sticks on our teeth, that sticks, that creates this plaque barrier, and then the bacteria grow and develop more and more. The teeth are exposed to more and more acidity. They are more likely to be damaged. The realkalinization is not happening as efficiently as it should. The remineralization is not happening as efficiently as it should. There's way more acid from the bacteria, and that acid is gradually eroding and damaging the teeth. And if you have bits of these sugary, sweet things stuck to your teeth, stuck in between your teeth for hours and hours and hours, this is where people get these little bits of damage in between teeth. And a lot of people on the fruit diet, they've had damage in between teeth, and also at the ridges in between the gum and the tooth, where little bits of food can just sit and stick there. But you don't get a little bit of oranges there. You don't get a little bit of pineapples there. You just don't. It's watery. It all washes away. What you get is things that are dried and sticky. Things that are dried and sticky. So that could even be things like honey, maple syrup, just pure sugar on its own, dried foods, candies, sweets. But can it happen with dried fruit? The answer is yes. And I think the main problem for me, and the main problem for a lot of raw vegans and fruitarians, has been the dates. The dates is a major, major problem. And the dates, if you live on them, if you eat lots of them, if you have them as meals, if you have them as snacks all the time, I believe you really need to be very conscious of looking after your teeth if you're going to choose to eat dates. Personally, not worth it for me. I avoid dates. I think that if you've got any vulnerabilities with your teeth, you should avoid dates. And the other dried fruits are probably a problem as well. But I really think that dates, because of their reputation, because people see them as a good calorie source, because they're so easy, they're so available all the time, they're so delicious, people are doing them. Now, can you have dates in a smoothie, in a sauce, in a dressing? Yeah, I think that's all fine. Once you've added more and more water to it, it's not really as much as a problem. But if you're consuming dates and you sit them in your mouth and you chew away at them and you're sucking away at them the way I used to eat them, and you've just got dates in your mouth all the time. I used to sit them beside my mouth and suck on them. Well, what does that do? It just puts your teeth under this acidic, sticky, sweet environment for long periods of time, meaning there's more and more bacteria, there's more damage being done, and you're putting yourself at huge risk. Also, you get little bits of dates stuck in between your teeth. And when you've not got any damage to your teeth yet, you don't even feel it or notice it. Once you have started to have some damage done to your teeth, you'll feel it every time you eat dates. You'll feel straight away after you've eaten dates the problem. So I'm always telling people dates are a major teeth destroyer for this lifestyle. And there's been so many people that have promoted dates, and they eat dates and they live on date smoothies aren't so bad, but they're eating dates all the time. And dates and bananas are the pasta and rice of the raw vegan diet. That's what I used to hear all the time. So I ate tons of dates. And it's funny because I never really heard anyone say dates are the problem. I never heard anyone really say that. And yet people kind of knew they were the problem. Some people knew, but they didn't really say. Um, I'm not really sure why. I never heard anyone clearly say that. I heard people talking about cooked food's the problem, minerals are the problem, acidic fruits are a problem. I heard people say all these things. I never heard them say dates. Well, actually, that's not true. Michael Arnstein said that in a video. Michael Arnstein said that in a video. And I didn't follow it at the time. I thought, well, it's quite hard to do this lifestyle without eating dates. That's what I really thought at the time, which was a mistake. But it took me a while to really accept that. And the damage that I've done to my teeth is irreparable. Now, this is the thing as well. Some people say, well, can you regrow your teeth? Can you, can your teeth repair themselves? Can all these things? Well, the way that I think about it is, firstly, you don't want to damage your teeth in the first place. So how do you stop yourself from damaging your teeth? I say, if you want 100% safety with it, don't eat any dried fruit. Don't eat any dates. Certainly don't live on them. Don't make them a meal. Make them a once in a while or whatever, but don't live on them. Don't make it a daily basis. Don't do that if you want to protect your teeth. If you don't care about your teeth, fair enough, eat what you like, but you will care about your teeth when you start to have damage to them. So anyway, the best ways of protecting your teeth, watch out for the dates. After meals, you probably want to floss, but when you don't eat dried fruit, it's not such an issue. Flossing is a real issue if you've got a lot of dried, sticky food. When you've not got that, flossing isn't as much of a deal anymore because there's not a lot to wash out between your teeth anymore. So watch out for the dried fruit, floss. If you're really sort of keen on it, you might want to rinse. Now, people talk about oil pulling. Why does oil pulling work? The same reason that rinsing with water works. The same thing. You're removing, when you're flushing out any food debris that's stuck and caught between your teeth. When you do that, you're taking away that acidic environment and you're allowing the teeth to remineralize. So one thing that Frederick Patenaude taught me in his presentation was one of the problems that raw vegans had is they're continually exposing their food to their mouth to food because they eat all day long. And that's to some extent true. Not all raw vegans are like that. But if you're snacking all the time, you're constantly exposing your mouth to this acidic environment and it's not getting that time to remineralize. So more time allowing the teeth to remineralize is really good. And then if you've got food that just sticks there all the time and you're not clearing it out, that's a real problem. Right, that's part of the problem. So oil pulling works, but it works in the same way that rinsing your teeth works. And it doesn't cure everything, right? Brushing your teeth probably at least twice a day, maybe 3 times if you like. A lot of people go in for the whole, don't brush your teeth right after eating. I mean, I just don't think that feels good to brush your teeth right after eating something anyway. So yeah, you probably don't want to do that. I don't think that's the big deal anyway, but people go on about these things, brushing away your enamel. I'm not really convinced you can do that. The problem is tooth decay, and it comes from bacteria and the acids forming bacteria and the plaque. It's not so much that you're brushing away enamel. That's not happening. People say, I need a soft brush. You don't need a soft brush. You need a brush that works for clearing your mouth of food debris and of that acidic. That's why we brush our teeth, is getting rid of the acidic plaque that's covering your teeth. That's what we have to do. Okay? So, and in terms of toothpaste, I believe in fluoride toothpaste. A lot of people have there's a lot of people that have bought into all sorts of ideas about dentistry, thinking that all the dentists are lying, all the dental advice is a lie and a scam. There's a number of documentaries. I got a friend the other day who was saying to me, root canals are the worst thing ever, never get a root canal, root canals kill you. Well, where's he got that from? From a documentary. And he's like, get your tooth removed, that's better. I don't think it's better to get a tooth removed than getting a root canal. I think you want to have your tooth in there. Nothing's going to replace that apart from an expensive dental implant. Of course, the guy that's going to take your root canal out can do a dental implant for you for thousands of pounds rather than a root canal for in the UK for, I don't know, £100, £200 or something. Some of you would get it paid on the NHS if you're low income, etc. So yeah, you know, I just think that I'm not convinced about a lot of this. You know, I know a number of people have had all their mercury fillings. I cannot imagine anything worse for me with the work that I've had done in my mouth than going in and getting all my fillings drilled out. I've got no desire to do that whatsoever. Zero desire. And the idea of going in, God knows how much people are spending to get all of those fillings drilled out. And people going about the mercury. It's a mercury amalgam. You know, no one's getting mercury poisoning. If people were getting mercury poisoning from their fillings, do you not think we'd have a lot of people with mercury poisoning all over the place? Where's all the mercury poisoning, people? So I don't buy into these things, but I'll research it more. I'll look into it further. I just think that you've got these holistic dentists who are laughing their way to the bank, drilling out everyone's mercury amalgams, taking out all the root canals, and then referring them to get implants and getting a commission off that, or doing the implants themselves. Like all this unnecessary work. I believe. That's my feeling. I look at things half from a health perspective, half from a business perspective. And marketing businesses often involves a lot of fear. And this weird resentment and anger that gets built up in people. Oh, fluoride is, root canals are terrible. And when people are in that state, they make these irrational decisions. I don't think you require any of that stuff. I think fluoride toothpaste is the best stuff for helping protect your teeth. I think the science on that's pretty unquestionable. Once again, I'm not the dental expert of the world, but I don't know. I like my dentist. I like the various dentists I've been to. I speak to them about these things. I ask them about it. They don't care. Listen, dentists don't have a big vendetta or agenda against you. They're really busy. You know, if you're a half decent dentist, you'll have loads of patients. Loads of people have tooth problems. They've got plenty of people. They got too many clients. They really don't care about you taking fluoride or not. You know, they're not trying to get more business. They're not trying to, I'm going to harm my patients by telling them to have fluoride so it destroys their teeth. That's silly. We know that if people were to give up on unhealthy sugar, sweets and stuff, that they would stop having as many teeth. They know that, but they can't get people to change their habits. They're not going to get people to change their habits. So yeah, I think fluoride toothpaste is what you should use. And I think you'll see a difference. If you've got tooth issues and you start if you've been avoiding the fluoride toothpaste, you will see a difference. Most likely you'll see a difference. So, yeah, flossing is good. And just the basic stuff that you get told. Brush your teeth twice a day, use floss, rinse. It's really not that much harder than that. And you can make it more advanced and, floss after every meal, and you can do these things, and that probably protects them even more. You don't want to damage your teeth. You don't want to take a risk. You don't want to think that everything will heal naturally. It won't. You're not going to regrow your teeth. You can remineralize. Some people claim to have completely remineralized cavities. I mean, there might be accounts of that, but don't rely on it. If you've got a cavity, you should get it filled, because you'd much rather get a cavity than end up with a root canal, a crown, and all the rest of it. So remember what happens when your tooth is damaged. The first stage is there is damage to the tooth through tooth decay. The dentist catches it, he'll put a filling in. So what does he have to do? He has to drill into the tooth. He has to drill out all of the decay, which is the infection. He has to get the bacteria out of that area. So he has to sterilize it, and then he has to build a cavity in there. So that's the first step, right? What if that goes further and the infection gets back in that tooth and it goes further? Well, eventually it'll get closer and closer to your nerve. And if it gets to the nerve, you'll start developing toothache, which is tremendously painful, unbelievably painful. And if it goes too far, the nerve's going to die. There's not really anything else for them to do. So they have to go in and do, if they want to save the tooth, do a root canal. Because the root is what's keeping your tooth in. If your root's going to die and become infected, that's really dangerous for you. And the tooth will fall out and crumble. And you'll be left with a gap there with nothing there. And that's not what you want. You do not want a gap. I'm telling you, you want a root canal over a gap. You do not want to be chewing and there's a big gap there. Right? So get a root canal. I believe in root canals, right? So I've got friends, as I say, they're totally against root canals. Root canal, there's a canal that goes down from your tooth into your jaw, right? That holds, and there's a root there. That supplies the tooth and everything. But the dentist basically goes in and that gets removed. The root gets destroyed. It's going to die anyway. Or it's basically in the process of dying or being destroyed because of tooth decay. So the dentist goes and flushes that canal out. Essentially, the nerve gets removed, gets cleaned out. It gets sterilized, so the bacteria is not in there, and then it gets filled in. And the tooth can stay in there for a while, but it will probably at some point fall out. And they put a crown on top of that, which is like a fake tooth, you know. So none of it's good. None of any of this stuff is preferable to your own teeth. And then if that all falls out, if your root is all falling out and everything comes out and everything's destroyed, your only option there is false tooth or like having like a clip-in thing which has a fake tooth on it that fits in. And those things are fine, but they just stick in. You have to hold them in all the time in your mouth and clean them out all the time. It's no good. And the other option is an implant, which is very expensive. Even on the NHS, implants are thousands of pounds. Well, you can't really get them. I don't know if you can get them on the NHS. They're thousands of pounds for one implant. In other countries, maybe cheaper. But yeah, expensive. In America, probably way more expensive. Probably selling your house to get an implant in America. Who knows? People, if you see these rich people with like perfect teeth, like these procedures, tens of thousands of dollars, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And it's a mark of richness, you know, it's a way of them saying, look how wealthy I am, look how expensive my smile is, you know. A lot of the older generation have false teeth. They just got all their teeth removed because it just wasn't worth it. Going through the pain of every single tooth becoming damaged and diseased is misery, absolute misery. People would get their teeth pulled out, they would do anything to get their teeth out because of the pain of it. It's unbearable. You don't want that in your life. You don't want gaps. You don't want damaged teeth. I've made mistakes. Don't make my mistakes. Look after your teeth. Don't go for the dates. Get the dried fruit out. And I say use a fluoride toothpaste. A lot of people are against it. I'm kind of like, there's nothing really in the other stuff you're using that's actually going to help. Like the other stuff, you might as well use anything to brush your teeth. You might as well just use water. Like, why buy toothpaste if you're not going to use fluoride toothpaste? The other stuff doesn't do anything. Like, as far as I mean, I just don't think it does anyway. but a lot of people disagree with me on that. And go with your dentist's advice. If you need a cavity, get a cavity. Don't pretend you don't need cavities or you're going to fill it in yourself. It's not going to happen. Something I've not really discussed, is a long video, but water fasting. Could water fasting help? Well, it certainly could help, because you're giving your body a time where it's not, your mouth a time where it's not being exposed to any food. It's not being exposed to that acidity. But you don't want to be having to rely on water fasting all the time, damaging your teeth and then doing another water fast and doing another water fasting every week. You know, I don't think you want to do that at all. So look after your teeth really well, be conscious. But I think the main problem is dates, dried fruits, dried snacks. Limit them severely or avoid them completely. That's really my main thing. I think you could get away with pretty bad, dental care if you avoid those things. And I had I had dates on a daily basis for a long time. It was a huge mistake. It was some of the worst advice I got from various people, especially people I was watching online. And a lot of those people ended up with bad teeth. And the people in this diet, this lifestyle, that seem to have teeth that have avoided a lot of these problems, are the people that have stayed away from a lot of the dried fruits and things like that. So, but it's miserable to damage your teeth, and take it seriously. And go and listen to your dentist, to be honest. They're really not trying to make money out of you. They do make money, but they have enough clients that have bad teeth. They don't need you as well. And there's plenty of people that will go to the dentist and the dentist says, your teeth are fine. That happens all the time. They're only really treating the people that have bad teeth, which includes me. So I don't like the fact that I've done that damage. I accept that I can't repair it. I accept that, and the only thing I can do is continue to make money to pay for the damn thing, the things, and the bill racks up every year. That you have to get something put back in again that's fallen out again or whatever, like this root canal that's fallen out, like every year. But I would much rather have had that as a root canal there, and there's something there, than have left it as a gap. I don't want a gap there all the time. It doesn't look good. It's not easy to eat with. It's leaving the other teeth vulnerable. It's not good. Anyway, Ken, I don't know if you got a lot of it in that video, but whatever you're doing, if you're starting to get some dental issues, get rid of the dates, get rid of the dried fruit. Just make sure you got enough of the other high calorie fruits, the bananas. Get the bananas in. Get lots of bananas in. Get prepared with your smoothies and things, so you don't have to rely on dried fruits and dates and things like that. Maybe cut down on any sweet things if you're putting in little donuts in the dehydrator and all that stuff. Maybe cut that out for a while. Brush every day, probably twice, as they say. Just follow the conventional advice. And flossing and using the floss sticks after you eat and rinsing. All these things are good. You want to reduce the time that your mouth is in that acidic environment, which means cutting down on the sweet sticky stuff. But the fresh fruits aren't a problem. But the sweet sticky stuff, the stuff that sticks, and you don't even feel that it's sticking. But I'm telling you, if you eat a lot of dates and then you give up dates, you'll feel a big difference in your mouth very quick. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I would love to see some of you at the Love Fruit Conference this weekend. Check out fruitfest.co.uk for more information. There's a bundle this week. I've got a new book out called Raw Vegan Myths. Check that out. Grab the book. It should be the book and the 50 other books. I think it should be really good value. Go and find that. I'll put a link for that down below. Thank you for watching the channel. Feel free to send this to anyone that you think it can help. So thank you very much.